there, I'm Z Slingsby, and I'm so excited that you're here. This class is all about conversion content, specifically for those of you under the wellness and fitness umbrella. So even health coaches, life coaches, healers, yogis, all of you are in the right place. I originally taught this course called Conversion Queen. It was a 3-day boot camp, and it talked all about how to convert from your audience and go after all of that cash that I believe most of us have sitting there that we have not claimed, bringing people into your DMs who are ready to work with you. I decided to focus this course specifically on wellness and fitness coaches and everyone under this umbrella because this is where I started in the coaching industry, and it also happens to be about 75% of my current clientele. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. A couple decades ago, I was working in corporate as a sales and leadership executive, and I absolutely loved what I was doing, but I didn't love that it took me away from a deep passion that I had to move my body as a health and fitness enthusiast. I decided to start getting certified in teaching classes. I became a personal trainer, and we bought actually 50% of a local studio gym. But out of all of these different endeavors, it was my online business that really took off and hit multiple six figures as a wellness coach. At this point, I also became a mom, and I really started to understand how to build a thriving business while also being present with my children. People started coming up to me and asking for help before I actually called myself a business coach. This was in 2020. And I had wellness coaches knocking on my door saying, will you teach me how you do this? And will you teach me how to do this? And the truth is I absolutely loved it because my past was in sales and leadership. So I started teaching other coaches how to scale. And my very first program that I created for wellness coaches served over 100 students. After that, I started getting approached by other folks in different industries. And I had great success building a 7-figure business as a business coach. However, I had a realization about 4 years into my business coaching journey. My absolute favorite clients to serve are those in wellness because that's where my background was. And when I lead a group of wellness coaches, not only am I confidently leading this room, but they're able to share. And the environment is just so powerful for friendships and for camaraderie and cheering each other on. And so I have a deep passion for the wellness space because it is where I started and it's what I understand more than anything else. I also believe that when you're selling business to business versus business to consumer, it's a totally different type of sales process. And I really understand that difference, which has allowed me to help my clients become very successful as wellness, health, fitness coaches. So today I'm going to talk to you guys specifically about top, middle, and bottom funnel content that can lead to conversion. I want to start by talking about something called the 95-5 rule. Now, this rule is an economic principle. This is not something that I came up with. This is something that has been proven in psychology of economics and buyer behavior. It says that at any one given time, about 5% of your target customers are actively looking to buy. The remaining 95%, while they are present, are not yet ready to buy. Now, what a lot of people do wrong is they think, how can I increase my reach so that that 5% is even greater? But the mistake is that we assume we're currently maximizing the current 5%, and we forget that we need to cultivate a relationship with the remaining 95% so that when they are ready, they will come to you instead of buying somewhere else. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about. There are really 3 types of content that you need to think about: tofu, mofu, and bofu. Tofu does not stand for a type of soy product. It stands for top of funnel. So I want you to think when someone shows up into your world, they are somewhere in that journey. Are they the 5% that's ready to buy, or are they just realizing that maybe they need some help? So as they go through this imaginary funnel, at the bottom is where they think, I'm ready to buy, take my money, I need to have this problem solved. Tofu is the very top. They're just barely becoming aware about that there's an idea of solving the problem they currently have. They're like, yes, I guess I could have this problem solved, but I wasn't even aware that I wanted to have it solved. Mofu is that middle funnel where they're aware that their problem could be solved, but they're not 100% convinced you are the person that's going to solve it for them. And then bofu content is like, okay, this is the program I'm going to join. I'm ready. Where do I sign? So how do we get your audience to the very, very bottom of the funnel? I want to walk through this a little bit more in depth so you understand what tofu, mofu, and bofu is really in action. Let's pretend that this is a nutrition coach for women during menopause. So let's pretend you're a nutrition coach and you specifically work with women during menopause. Your tofu content is directed at your ideal client when she's going through menopause, and maybe she's been told by friends or doctors that she just has to accept that weight gain is natural and that she doesn't have any energy. Like, you just have to accept it. That's how it is. Your content is going to help bring awareness to the fact that that's not true. You want to open her up to the idea that there actually is a solution and you could help her. And this may be one of the first times that she's even realized she doesn't have to accept it. Now, once she's at that point, what's the next step? She's sitting in the middle of this funnel. You want the middle funnel content, right? Middle of funnel, MOFU. Now, she's aware that there's a problem. I want you to picture something. On Instagram, whenever you engage, so she's engaged with your top of funnel content, what happens? The algorithm is going to put more people in front of her. The algorithm is going to now put other coaches who coach during menopause in front of her. So this MOFU content is really important because it's going to build trust in you as the coach that is going to solve her problem, not somebody else. In this stage, she already knows there's a problem that could be solved, but she has to trust that you are the person she's going to hire. And then the bottom funnel is when she is ready. And this actually is something you have to pay attention to, because what happens sometimes is someone will see your top of funnel. And I see a lot of coaches in the wellness space doing really good top of funnel. You're getting in front of the right people. You're showing that you can solve this problem. The authority content is actually not as strong, or maybe it's just barely there, but there's not enough selling happening, say, in the stories. And so this bottom funnel, what happens is she's like, yes, I have a problem. I totally feel aware. I need to have this solved. And then the algorithm will show her other coaches, and the other coach says, join my 12-week program that's specifically going to help women. And she says, take my money. So you just warmed her up to go spend the money with somebody else because you did not have bottom funnel content. This is why when I work with my clients, I look at the entire funnel and I look at where they are losing people in the funnel. If your content is only speaking to one of these, you are leaving cash on the table. This has been a difference maker for my clients to go from a huge, great, engaged following, but not making money, to making money regardless of audience size. Let's look at some actual examples. So this is my client, Melissa. She started with me actually around 14,000 followers. Now, I am not a growth coach. She did this all on her own. But when she came to me, what I said was, hey, I actually want you to pause on the growth for a little bit because you have a lot of top of funnel. This is an example of her top of funnel. She does a great job with top of funnel, and that's why she has had such fabulous growth, but she wasn't making the money that she wanted to be making. A year of, now we're a year in, which we accomplished a lot faster, but now a year in, she has consistently every single month hit the goal that she's wanted to hit. And why is that? We didn't just stick to tofu. Now, tofu is great because it brings people into her funnel. This kind of content, educational content, which by the way is not dead like some coaches will say, it brings people into the funnel. They are waking up to the idea that, hey, I actually could eat this kind of food and actually hit my goals. Now, are they going to hire Melissa off of this content? Probably not. They might find her because of it. Remember, you can convert people through the funnel, right? They probably are going to find her through content like this, and they're going to find her to be valuable. The next one is my client, Bree. And this example right over here is of middle funnel. It's really building her authority, right? So she says, if your coach says you need to reverse diet to increase your deficit calories, and then she really tackles this, popular statement that might be out there and why she has authority to speak to it however she believes. Now, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, it works for her audience, right? And so it's building authority that if I want the results that Bree talks about, she is the coach for me. By the way, those of you guys who are in my Rich and Relaxed Mastermind, Bree is our social media mindset coach, and she's amazing. She's been a client of mine for a year, and she also coaches inside of one of my other masterminds for wellness coaches. So Bree's incredible, but this is an example of her middle of funnel. Other middle of funnel is authority building content, testimonials, storytelling. All of this is going to help prove that you know what you're talking about. All right, another client example. She is a very specialized client. She is an actual dietitian for gymnasts. Taylor has been with me for actually almost a year as well. And this is an example of a bottom funnel. So do you see in this carousel, she specifically starts with a problem, but in the caption, it's going straight to the solution. The solution is not in the carousel, right? So the carousel is actually just explaining more about the problem. The caption is going straight to the solution. And the solution is to get inside her DMs. She's not going to tell you what to do here. It's DM me next level. And so when you DM her next level, she's starting the combo. Do you see how she says that? This is really important, you guys. Right now, most of my clients in the wellness industry are crushing it because they're actually having conversations in the DMs. They're not just sending people off to links and never talking to them. And so this post is bottom funnel that gets them to the DMs where you can actually build a relationship, and people sign up sometimes within an hour if you can get them in the DMs and they've been warmed up through your content. Okay. All of these work together. If Melissa only did growth, which is what she used to do before she met me, she wasn't making the money she wanted. If Bree only did middle funnel, authority, she would probably convert people that were already sitting right there, but she would be missing out on new leads and her pipeline would dry out. Same with Taylor. If you're only doing bottom funnel, you're just selling, but you're not nurturing or bringing in new eyes or even educating on the problem that can be solved. So all of these work together. Now, what's so important, you can call in someone who's bottom funnel. The Instagram algorithm works for you. So if there's another coach out there just like you and they keep posting top of funnel, but they're not selling, the algorithm may actually put you in front of that person. So you want to make sure that you have all three. People can be warmed up somewhere else, just like I just described. Another coach warmed them up. Now, you don't want to be the coach that's warming people up and then they go sign with your competitor. Let's make sure that's not happening. You can move them through a funnel in one post. So I showed you examples of 3 different posts. There are sometimes posts that can get people from, oh my God, I didn't even realize I could do this, to wow, you're amazing. Oh my gosh, you have a program. Where do I sign? You do not want all your content to be this way because it will stop working. Having top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, really understanding that methodology is what's going to give you a healthy pipeline that's constantly converting. But sometimes you can have a killer post that satisfies all 3. And that's how you keep that healthy pipeline, is you do a gut check on your own business. If you guys are having tons of conversations, but nobody is closing, you probably need some bottom funnel content in your stories and your feed. If you're like Z, the minute someone gets in my DMs, they move, but I just don't have any leads, then you probably need to focus more on top of funnel content. If you've loved everything that I've shown you so far, I want to invite you to join me in the 6-Figure Plus Wellness Coach Bootcamp. So this is a 3-day event with an optional 4th day. On day 1, we're going to get even deeper into all of the messaging for conversion. And I'm going to actually walk you through how you can create tofu, mofu, and bofu for your business. On day 2, we're going to talk about the offer suites that can create recurring revenue. Because if you don't have recurring revenue in your business right now, and you're having to hustle from scratch every month or every 8 weeks, that is feeling probably very heavy to you, and you're having to churn and burn through leads, which I don't want you to do. You're going to constantly feel stuck. And then on day 3, we're going to talk about the actual strategy of getting past 10K months into the 15, 20, 30, 40, 50K months on repeat, and the specific mindset shifts and the systems that are going to lead to these multiple 6-figure years for you. The VIP session is for those of you who want my eyes on your business. You can ask me questions. The first 3 days are $47. You're going to click right here on the QR code and you'll have an option to add in the last day, which is the VIP session. I cannot stress enough that if you love this, this is going to be 3 one-hour sessions with me where I dive into all of this with you directly, plus this bonus session. And it is specifically for wellness, fitness, nutrition, health, healers, yogis, everyone who's a coach or course creator under this umbrella. This is the room that you're going to want to get into. So either click on the QR code or you're going to see the bootcamp linked underneath this video. I cannot wait to see you there.